We are live. We are live. We are live.
Irene, does it mean that you have to take it?
Okay, that's a good point. Good evening, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and we really appreciate your presence for the next almost half an hour. My name is Irene Bordadi. I'm part of the Water and Energy for Food team, and specifically the Technical Assistant Specialist. I'm also head of the small micro medium enterprise services at Chemonix Egypt. I'm joined by my colleagues who I really cannot wait for you to meet shortly, Mr. Constantin Salame, who is the investment senior advisor at the We for Food program, also a senior coach and investment advisor at the Berry Tech Foundation based in Lebanon. And he has over 35 years of experience in finance, investment, and organizational transformation and restructuring. I'm also joined by Mr. Youssef Ben Mer, who is currently in the United States, but he's based in Morocco. He's the president and the founder of the High Atlas Foundation, which is a leading organization in Morocco and the region that works on tree nurseries and also the sales of carbon offsets. I cannot wait for you to meet them shortly. I'll just take a couple of minutes to introduce you to the Water and Energy for Food program and some of the challenges that we've seen in the types of companies that we're working with, given the stage that they're in. And then I'll introduce you to the technical assistance and services that the organizations and innovators that we work with benefit from in the program and why we designed them the way we did. And then I'll pass on the baton to Mr. Constantin, who will be walking you through specifically the investment readiness process and as well reflecting on some of the challenges that we see with innovators and organizations working in this growth, highly growing phase. And then I'll finally will close with Dr. Youssef Ben Mer, who will tell us a little bit more about his experience in growing the organization, growing the High Atlas Foundation in the last couple of years, the transformational planning that's been taking place in the last year and that will continue to take place this year, and he will also reflect on his experience with the We4F and the We4F program. So I will start with a quick introduction on the We for Food program for those of you who are not familiar with it. So the We for Food program is a joint international initiative from the German Federal Ministry of International Cooperation and Development, the BMZ, the European Union, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Government of Netherlands, Sweden through the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, and the US Agency for International Development, the USAID. The We for Food's MENA chapter, the MENA Innovation Hub, is operated by a consortium that is led by the Berry Tech Foundation and is joined by CWAS, Chemonix Egypt, and the International Water Management Institute, being partners of this consortium. We have collectively had the honor to support over 300 mid to late stage companies and nonprofits as well throughout the Middle East and North Africa, who have collectively raised more than 250 million USD in the past 5 years, and they've achieved more than $400 million of yearly revenues in 2019. The MENA call for innovations under the We for Food program targets 40 to 50 mid to late stage organizations. So these are organizations with a solid track record, who have achieved revenues and who have a clear customer and end user base. And a clear innovative solutions serving the food and agriculture value chains with solutions that are either water and or energy savings. And the ultimate goal is to reach 750 smallholder farmers and end users in adopting these innovative solutions. to help them become more water and energy efficient. So the We for Food program, actually, we have our first cohort of innovators who are 16 innovators, and we're currently in the process of evaluating the second cohort. In the next couple of weeks, we will be announcing who will join the second cohort. And there's a possibility that we will open the door for a third cohort. So the We4F program offers innovators a suite of growth management services, given that these organizations are extremely fast growing and they're going through a pivotal moment in their development. And these services include access to finance, access to markets such as buyers, suppliers, various stakeholders, investment readiness and brokerage, technical assistance. And technical assistance is typically offered via management and technical consultancy projects, as well as for some of them, they receive the opportunity to benefit from a grant of up to $300,000. So if I'm not sure if the audience sees the presentation, if the technical team can help me with
we don't see the presentation, but go ahead, Irene, go ahead.
Okay, sure.
We see your beautiful face.
Thank you, Constantin. So I will actually try to showcase my PowerPoint presentation, and if it crashes, then I'll ask the technical team to please support me with that. Before showcasing the presentation, I just wanted to share a couple of ideas. Thank you very much. I'll be pointing to a couple of typical challenges that we see given the topic of this webinar with the types of companies and organizations that we're working with. And I'm sure Constantin will be reflecting on that further, and Dr. Youssef will be giving us a very clear, practical examples of some of these challenges that organizations face in this stage of their development. So typically, and again, this is our raison d'etre. We see these challenges, and we're here to cater to them and to support these, the innovators that we're working with and passing through these challenging times. So over the years, we see that typically organizations face a set of inward-looking challenges and outward-looking challenges. So typical inward-looking challenges, as they grow exponentially, is typically setting up the internal systems to support this growth. So for example, having sound financial and accounting systems, having sound governance structures, having quality control, quality assurance measures in place, developing the team, growing the team, and then also selecting optimal financing structures to support these organizations to achieve their growth objectives. These are some of the typical inward-looking challenges that we see. In terms of outward-looking market challenges, we see that a very typical issue is finding the right solution market fit, finding the optimal product mix to support financial sustainability, but to also meet the growing demand of these for the services and products of the companies that we're working with. Another typical challenge is technology selection and technology development, supply chain development and supply chain and supplier assessment and selection, and user financing schemes to basically increase the adoption of usually high capex solutions that we see in the Nexus, as most of you are familiar with. So these are some of the inward and outward looking challenges that we seek to cater to in the We4F program via the different technical assistance interventions and the investment readiness interventions that we deploy. Constantin will be building on that, and Dr. Youssef will also be giving us solid, concrete examples of the kinds of challenges and opportunities that they're facing as they grow. So accordingly, the hub designed its support packages to such fast growing organizations. These packages come in different formats to allow for flexibility. As many of you know, such organizations are working at a very fast pace and usually need support on a weekly or monthly basis. So they come, the support that we offer come in different formats to support these fast moving companies. They allow for both individualized, customized support, but also group support working with a cohort. They they come in at different frequencies and at different scales. One of the most important things that we've worked on with the innovators that we're working with is supporting them in developing their transformational plans. So we don't call them action plans, we call them transformational plans, because this is really what the innovators are going through in this phase. So this is basically an action plan for 3 years with very clear social, environmental, and business and financial targets that we support them in achieving in the next 2 to 3 years. And they address both strategic high-level goals, but also really, operational day-to-day targets. And of course, there's harmony between the technical assistance that's being offered to these organizations and also their path towards becoming investment ready. The next slide, please. So just to get more into the nitty-gritty for those organizations in the room who are planning on supporting such fast-growing organizations in the next period. So the support offered to the We4F program comes in 5 main modalities. The first is that we meet with the innovators on a bi-monthly, so we meet them either in the beginning it was every 2 months, and then we moved on to quarterly, and then as we move on in the program, this will be probably every 6 months. And the goal is really to mimic the kinds of meetings that they would have with their board. And this is to mainly follow up on key strategic objectives and targets, to readjust their transformation work plans if needed, and to provide the necessary technical support that's needed to help them to achieve their objectives. So this is really a planning meeting that mimics the kinds of meetings that they would have with their board, but with a very specific focus on the We4Food program goals and strategic objectives. Another modality is closer follow-up meetings that takes place with country coordinators who are assigned a group of companies within the countries of operations that are targeted, to follow up with them every 2 weeks to every 4 weeks. And this is mainly, again, to follow up on the granularities of the transformational work plan. While the transformational work plan talks about, what are the overarching goals for 1 year, this is really to follow up on the monthly and quarterly goals, to identify any risks or challenges in advance, to identify ad hoc or technical advisory or investment readiness support that's needed ahead of time, and to also follow up on proactively support where risks and challenges may be identified. So these are very hands-on meetings that support the innovators in basically checking in on their monthly targets. We also implement joint workshops by hub managers. This was something that was conducted probably about 9 months ago. And then as we group the common challenges and risks that the organizations are facing, we may also group them into workshops rather than supporting via individual meetings. But we conducted a boot camp last year and conducting another one this year, where we discussed typical needs of organizations such as strategic planning, valuation, financial planning, cash flow assessment, and user financing, business process re-engineering, etc. So we've, in the beginning of our journey together, we've grouped the most typically needed topics and capacity building support that's needed, and we've implemented it with the groups with the cohort that we are working with. And as we continue to group common needs, we will continue to deliver these joint workshops, which are typically followed by deeper technical assistance support. We also work with innovators on ad hoc one-on-one clinics, as I mentioned earlier, as needed, and these are provided by the TA or investment readiness managers. And finally, which is probably the piece that differentiates this program the most from typical acceleration or incubation programs, is this idea of technical assistance incidences. I'm sorry, it's cut off, so you can't see it very clearly, but each organization, whether they've received a grant or not, as long as they have been accepted into the We4F program, they are provided with up to 1 to 3 technical incidences, which are hands-on management and technical consultancy projects, which last between 2 to 3 months, and they really delve deep into a certain topic or consultancy scope that will help the innovators in transforming or in achieving their transformational work plan objectives. The common themes of these topics, as I mentioned earlier, are supply chain and user financing, financial modeling and cash flow management, gender-focused interventions, governance-focused interventions, base of the pyramid support and advisory on how the base of the pyramid could be better integrated into the business model and supply chain of these organizations, and then other topics such as technical design, technical product design, market studies, resource efficiency, marketing, user experience and user interface for digital solutions, payment technologies, and export readiness. So these are some of the typical themes that we've been working on through both the workshops, the clinics, the ad hoc advisory, but also the TA incidences. So I'd like to now pass on the mic to Mr. Constantin Salame, who will be digging a little bit deeper into the investment readiness support that's being offered, but also reflecting on the typical challenges that innovators in this phase face, and how the support is fine-tuned to cater to that. Mr. Constantin, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Irene. We're left with 5 minutes, Irene, so for both of us. So next time we'll do it timing-wise balanced. Look, thank you. It's important that I'm going to keep it short to give time also to Youssef. On the investment side, most of these companies find a funding gap. And this funding gap today for small, medium-sized enterprises in the MENA region is close to impossible. Equity players don't want to get into this game, and banks are extremely conservative, asking for fully collateralized loan, which is not the case for most of these companies. So what we do is we come in, we first understand the gap that these companies face in terms of investment readiness. What do they have? What are they missing? And we spend this in understanding their business model. We then come in and we do webinars. How do you put together your financial model? How do you go about assessing the value of your company? How do you negotiate a term sheet? How do you go about engaging different investors? So these are webinars so that to make sure that everybody speaks the same language. Then, like we've done with Youssef, is to sit down with him and to see what is his particular challenges that he's facing. It could be with his board. In this case, it was with the board. We want to convince the board to go into a certain sort of funding scheme where the board might be a bit resistant. So every company have their own challenges. We do it on one-on-one clinics, and then we work with the company and the board in order to be able to address it. In parallel, what we do is we engage a number of investors. These are business angels, these are DFIs, these are venture capital companies, private equity companies, so that to explain to them the program and do the matching between those companies that have been gone through all the training and have all the necessary documentation in terms of their investment teaser, investment memorandum, in terms of their financial model, in terms of their valuation. So they're ready. And then we match them with those investors across the region. So some are in MENA, some of them are coming from Europe or from the US. And then the final phase is that we are working on the investment brokerage so as to make sure that the transaction, the term sheet negotiation, the shareholder agreement is done in a fair way. Now, what is our goal? Ultimately, what we measured is how much funds are we allowing these companies to raise. Initially, we had a target which was about $7.5 million. We feel that we could break this target by a minimum a factor of 4. So we'll be very disappointed if we don't help these companies raise at least $30 million in terms of grants, debt, and equity funding over the next 2 to 3 years. So this is in summary what we do. In case there is any interest from investors, from companies, we'd be more than happy to sit down with you and explain to you in more detail who these companies are, and in case you want to talk to them, for those of you who are interested in either providing advisory services or investing in these companies, we'll be more than happy to talk to you. I'm going to pass on to Youssef. Youssef is an excellent example of how we have used, if you want, these different capacity building to help him be successful and increase the social impact that he's having in Morocco and across the region. Youssef, the floor is yours.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Constantin. Dr. Youssef, just a second. I mean, we have permission. We have 8 more minutes since we started slightly late. So, Dr. Youssef, you can take those 8 minutes to present, and I got permission from the organizers to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. In Morocco, 2/3 of agricultural land only generates 10 to 15% of agricultural revenue. Farming families of the nation are transitioning from barley and corn to fruit trees. And fortunately in Morocco, there's 14 varieties of fruit trees that grow organically. So the Hayatlis Foundation, which is a US Moroccan civil nonprofit association, facilitates community meetings and responds to the people. It always comes up with, in rural places, that fruit trees and other aspects along the agricultural value chain are the priorities that they have. 80% of rural incomes come from agriculture. So in responding to that, since 2000, it took us 11 years to plant our first 1 million trees between 2003, 2014, our first 1 million trees. This year, we are transplanting from 14 community managed nurseries 1 million trees and reseeding 3 million. And so what's key to that is, of course, the monitoring of that. All the trees that we transplant, not only are they from community managed nurseries, but the monitoring is also done by the farming families. And the US Forestry Service and Ecosia helps us fund that aspect. The other thing I want to say about that is, because of our monitoring system having a significant data set, we have reached a point where that monitoring data, we can transition into a certifiable carbon credit offset. Now, what WE4F has done is it looks at the lay of what we're doing and provides first a modest amount of funding in order to leverage additional nurseries. So those 14 nurseries are not in all the biozones of the country. WE4F allowed us to place investment in nurseries where we are not, in order for us to create an adaptive management system. And that's key for us. The other thing that WE4F has done is said, well, what is your investment readiness position? How can we, so thankfully we're receiving funding to build nurseries from Reforestation, from Ecosia, from a number of, from UNDP. We receive a significant grant from the EU to help with the capacity building. 5 of the 14 nurseries are managed by women's cooperatives, and there's a major part of capacity building in all of this. We're able to attach USAID farmer-to-farmer program to many of these cooperatives to assist with technical assistance. But we are in a position, we have far more land given by the government and universities and other groups in Morocco than we have funding to plant. And WE4F helps us prepare a investment readiness disposition, including not only in terms of analyzing and creating the financial projections and presentations and all of that, but also organizationally, internally. What do we need to do as a nonprofit in order to open ourselves to all the interested, including private investors, in this model? The demand for trees, because of this massive transition from the staple crops to fruit trees, the Ministry of Agriculture in Morocco projects that well more than 1 billion trees, fruit trees, are needed as part of this transition. We end every planting season without nearly enough trees to meet the demand of the people. And so we have this vast market, and these trees are sold at approximately 20 cents US. A walnut tree right now in the private market can be $1.50, $2, depending on its size. Cherry tree can be even more than that. Argan is closer to $2 a tree. We're selling at 20 cents, and we're able to so that's it. That 20 cents is paid for by the farming family, and that's reinvested in seeds to replenish the nurseries. So we have this circular model. These nurseries are financially sustainable. WE4F works with our team in order to build additional nurseries, which allows us to transplant even more, monitor more, and be in a position for far greater carbon credit offsets. They also look at our technical capacity in order for those offsets to be certifiable. And that TA that Irene referred to is critical because we can now be in a position to juxtapose our monitoring system against the international certifiable standard. And I want to say something about that because it's important to convey the challenge in that regard. So currently, the international certifiable standard includes a signed contract by the farmers in order for groups like the Highest Foundation to then sell the offsets that their trees generate. Now, those trees are planted with this program. They are the monitors of the trees. They're integral to every aspect. But this year alone, our transformational plan includes 8 million trees. We are, as I've said, we're transplanting 1 million this year. We're reseeding 3 million. And we are in a position to reach that 8 million tree goal, and that's 50,000 farming families. A contract with 50,000 individual farmers is completely unwieldy. These farmers are part of associations and cooperatives. And one of the things that we understand to come out of COP26 is that there will be more flexibility, hopefully, on what a certifiable standard can incorporate. We meet all the data sets involved. We have that challenge about 50,000, having to generate individual contracts, even as the farmers are integral. And even as we know that land rights are extremely complicated situation. So, so it's key for us, even as we work out all of the technical aspects and the monitoring system and all that's involved in that, it's key for us to reach that certifiable standard that this issue of the signing of contracts be resolved in order for farming families to be at the center of the carbon credit offset market. The other challenge I want to say is this, that as a development organization, we respond to the priorities of the people. We assist communities in education and infrastructure, in clean drinking water, other aspects beyond agriculture. And what we've learned is that the participatory approach, even when everyone is in the room, there are social controls. We're filled with doubts. We don't have the confidence. We don't know often what it is that we want, even when we are in a position to voice. And so what we've done was we've preceded participatory planning with empowerment. And what our studies have found, it's a 4-day empowerment workshop where there is that opportunity for self-discovery and introspection and building a sense of the future that we want before going into community-wide planning of development. And what we found is that when we precede community planning with that introspection and confidence building, the results of the tree planting are able to create derivatives like higher participation among women and girls in education. The indirect benefits of agriculture are much more pronounced when we're able to precede this entire experience with empowerment. And so how are we able, our challenge too is not only to deal with the issue of carbon credit offsets and making sure farmers are at the center, but an additional challenge we have is when we're reaching into 50,000 farming families in 160 municipalities in 40 provinces of Morocco, how do we maintain that personalized opportunity for participants to really discover what is most important for them and look at their relationships in their lives and how they can be affirming and how they can be also denying of opportunity. And all those kinds of things come up in those 4 days. And that's essential, we have found, in order to achieve the best outcomes for water, energy, and food. And so I just want to say what WE4F is critical is that we have great partners. We have land from the government. lend from all different, from the Moroccan Christian community, from the Moroccan Jewish community. There's interfaith involved in this initiatives. We're overcoming gender barriers, but the key aspect of W4F is not only to leverage in places in order to gain nurseries where we are not, but also the organizational growth. Our board, we need to, as a nonprofit, we need to be able to transform ourselves in order to be able to be receptive to all the different kinds of support that that is out there for us. We've, for the first time with W4F, we've been able to secure a loan for $908,000. That's 5 more nurseries. We couldn't do the rigor analysis. They helped us go through the rigorous analysis we need in order to ensure that we can pay that back and have the confidence that we can through the generation of trees and their sale, and through the currently being able to sell on a voluntary basis carbon credit offsets. So I'll leave it at that. The big part of this story is really Morocco. Morocco wants this. Morocco wants community planning. Morocco wants private public partnership. Morocco has, its government has actually invested in it through the National Initiative for Human Development in the interfaith nursery, which is incredible. So working in a culture, a society that promotes all the aspects of what I'm saying is really the key for success among everything else. And I just want to thank everyone for allowing me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Yusuf. This is great, and I think we will be wrapping up. But this has been really really inspiring, and thank you for sharing your experience, Constantin. If you would like to close with a closing remark, and Dr. Yusuf, if possible, if you could share an email address or a website or a LinkedIn page where people can reach you if they'd like to partner with you or learn more about the High Atlas Foundation, I think it would be great if you could include those links in the chat.
My battery is running low. I just want to say thank you, Yusuf. Thank you, Irene. Wonderful organization. Our contact details are we4f.org. We are responsible for the MENA program. In case you want to reach out, feel free to send us an email. We're very excited. We have wonderful entrepreneurs and ventures, innovative ventures like the High Atlas Foundation across all these different countries. So it makes it a regional program, and we're looking at working with a number of you to make this as impactful as possible. So thank you again, Irene, for the moderation, and look forward to catching up with some of you in the near future, inshallah. All the best.
Thank you, Constantin. Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. I think if we can stay on for just 30 seconds for Dr. Yusuf to include any relevant links on the chat. And I'll also be sharing a link of the profiles of the innovators who are in the first cohort, which includes the High Atlas Foundation's profile as well. So if we can just get 30 seconds of your time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Constantin.
I just want to say Prima was an early supporter, and I just we're grateful for that as well.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think all the links have been shared. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you very much.
Slama. Bye-bye.